Hello everybody out there in Mavic land. Chad back with you here on the RC Models and More's channel. And we got our friend Mavic here who's feeling a little festive for this video. I'm going to call this the absolute beginner's guide to the DJI Mavic. Now this is just for maybe some of you people that have had a Mavic or had other DJI drones, but these are some of the questions that I get constantly and I see on the forums and Facebook groups all the time. Before we get into that real quick, just wanted to let you know I have been in contact with Dji and with Autopilot, and they are working on recognizing the new DJI Go 4 Geo system. What happened with me was when I downloaded the Go 4 app coming from the DJI Go app, I needed to sign in again and redo my Geo system and reset the craft and the sticks and everything like that as far as power and everything off. And then that way, whenever I use Dji or Autopilot, it would carry that stuff over, since I live close to a hospital and there's a helipad. So I'm technically in a no-fly zone here at my house. So for any of you that are having problems, try that stuff out. So we'll have more videos on that coming up soon. Also, the Taco RC filters are here. Really awesome. They come in a little case. This is going to allow us to finally get our shutter speeds down to where we need so we can get a good cinematic view. The filters are really cool. They're really skinny and tapered and all that kind of stuff. So I'm anxious to see how those do with the gimbal, especially the gimbal in the cold. Wanted to say thanks to all the people who are new to the channel. Thanks to all the people who are going to hit the like button and keep on hitting that subscribe button, guys. The more people we get, the bigger community we grow. You know, the more Mavic stuff we can get out there and help solve each other's problems. So anyway, let's get to the absolute beginner system. So the first thing you want to do, of course, is take everything out of the box. Make sure it is all there. Take all of the stickers off of it. There might be some stickers on your vision sensors that are in the front and on the bottom. You want to make sure that those are off. The sticker on the back of the gimbal with the little yellow tab on it, yes, that does come off. Take that off. It's kind of hard to get all of it off in one fell swoop, but get that thing off. Next thing you want to do, charge everything up. If you have the Fly More package, it's probably going to take about a good 2.5 to 3 hours to cycle through all of 3 of your batteries, to charge them to full capacity, and to charge your remote control. You're probably going to have to charge your remote control again before you go out to fly, because there's a lot of initial setup you can do on your bench if it's cloudy or rainy or cold and you're scared to fly the Mavic. So first of all, the other thing that you want to do is, since the Mavic is greater than 250 grams, you're going to need to go to the FAA website. I'll put the link down in the description. You're going to have to register your drone. It's $5. It basically covers any aircraft that you have. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got about 10 aircraft here, including the Mavic, that do require you to register. $5 covers them all. You print off a little sticker. You can stick it anywhere, underneath the batteries, wherever, as long as it does not take tools to get to it. A couple other things you might want to think about. Insurance from State Farm, I've heard, is pretty decent. I don't know. I don't have it. I do have the DJI Care Refresh plan. You have to buy that within 48 hours after you log into the app and activate your account. So when that's done, if you're all ready to go, you have a new fresh SD card in there. If you bought a bigger one, pop all that stuff in there. One thing I definitely want to tell people to do is to make sure that your remote control is, the button here on the side is down and not up, because that is sports mode, and for some reason some come shipped like that, some don't. Mine did, so you want to make sure of that. Second of all, your gimbal guard. Never put this on whenever the DJI Mavic is on. It must be off at all times. Any other time, put this thing on and put your protector on. Now you can fly with this, but you cannot fly with this on. You're going to ruin your stuff. You really don't want to fly with this unless you're out in maybe some bad weather or whatever, or you're afraid that you're going to hurt your Mavic. But just warning you. The other thing that you're going to want is you are going to want to take a floor mat out of your car if you're flying in the grass, or landed on concrete or something, so that way your gimbal is not touching and getting caught up into anything. So I think that pretty much covers all of the initial things that I have seen people asking questions on. So the next thing you're going to want to do to get ready to fly is put your batteries in there, go on to the app store of your choice, download the DJI Go 4 app. Don't start with DJI Go if you're brand new. It's going to create some problems with you. Start with DJI Go 4. You're going to want to log in, enter yourself an account to start keeping track of everything, and that will also allow you to send messages to your phone and accept responsibility if you are in a no-fly zone. So once you've got all that installed and up and running, you should get a red bar across the top of your phone or tablet that says update firmware. You're going to want to update your brand new Mavic to the newest firmware. Follow the steps. It's really easy. Make sure you're in Wi-Fi so it happens really fast. When you're done with the initial firmware update on the Mavic and the remote control and the battery that's in the Mavic, turn the Mavic off, put your next battery into the Mavic, turn it back on, and see if it requires a firmware update. More than likely, if it came out of the same batch, it will, and update the firmware on that battery. Do that over and over until all of them are consistent, and you'll know that because you'll get a big message on whether or not they're on inconsistent firmware. Finally, after all that's done and you entered the DJI Go 4 app for the first time, you're going to want to calibrate everything. Now, I'm not one of these people that does calibrations all the time. It's a 50-50 split. Some people say they do it every time before they fly, this and that, whatever. But you're going to want to do a full IMU calibration, a gimbal calibration, reset your camera settings, RC stick calibration, and when you get outside into a decent open area, sorry about that, as I was saying, when you get into a decent open area, you're going to want to do a full gimbal, full compass calibration. So that way you have good stats all the way around, and when we go to the bench and show everybody what's going on, I'll show you what those what that looks like. Now, the other thing to think about is, what do you do when you don't really have anything else to do because it's raining or it's cold or whatever? Now, I've been telling people this bandwagon has been going on strong for a year. I fly FPV and everything like that, but do yourself a favor and go out and buy one of the Inductrix FPV systems from Horizon Hobby. Now, this one here is a highly modified one with an acro board and race motors, and I use a remote control here, and I've got the Fat Shark goggles to go with it. You can upgrade from the one from Horizon to work with all this stuff. So it's awesome to fly in the house. They're super fun. For $200, you can get a transmitter with a screen, the Tiny Whoop or Inductrix FPV as they call it, and then you can just start buying batteries like crazy and have fun and mess with your cats and dogs and kids and everything else. So that's another thing that's highly recommended. So now that we've got through that list, let's go to the bench and let's take a look at what you're going to want to do to get everything ready to go for your first flight. Be right back. All right, here we are back at the bench, and I apologize for tripod mode, but Apple has once again killed the screen recorder that I have been using for the past couple weeks. An unfortunate side effect of an iOS device, but I guess it's better than the current disconnect issues that are going on with the Android Go app. So anyway, as you can see here, we're hooked up and connected to the Mavic. Ignore the errors because those are going to happen most of the time when you are inside. If you look at the top left hand corner of the map, you hit DJI. This takes you back out to the Mavic screen where you can select what kind of DJI aircraft you want. You can go down here along the bottom and do editing, and you can also keep track of all of your records. But we're here to look at the app, so everything's going to pop up. Alright, so to get yourself going, first of all, you want to hit the three little dashes up here in the corner. The very first top button, make sure right here is where you have multiple flight modes enabled, so you can select modes besides the beginner mode and go into sports mode and stuff. Here is your return to home altitude that you have to set. Make sure you are very aware of what that is, and you will need to set that. I also recommend that you set your maximum flight altitude, and I normally have distance, but since I haven't been flying with my iPad, it's not set. Advanced settings, don't worry about those right now. We're not going to be doing anything with those at the moment. Next little button here is where you can turn on and off all of your different sensors and obstacle avoidances. You're going to want to check and make sure all of those are turned on for your first flight. The little remote controller is where you will do things like your remote controller calibration, assign your buttons to different functions. As you can see, you've got a couple different modes. I usually like to set C1 to center autofocus, and C2 HD setting out of the box. You're not going to have to do anything with that. Battery setting, this is where you are going to enable your low flight battery warnings. If you're sticking around close to yourself, 20% is fine. If not, you are going to want to raise that. The gimbal button, this is where you can calibrate your gimbal and do other various things. The three dashes are your general settings, and this is where you're going to select things like measurements, turn your geosystem on and off, which will enable you to unlock or lock no-fly zones. And that's pretty much about it in the settings. You really don't need to do a whole lot with those at the beginning. Besides, make sure that beginner mode is turned on. You're definitely going to want to take your first couple flights in beginner mode, and you can see right here that it is limiting your altitude and your flight distance. Now, if you know what you're doing with cameras, then this might apply, this might not. But if you don't, for your first couple flights, go ahead and press these three little bars here to bring up your camera menu. You want to go ahead and leave everything on auto. If you press the camera button here, the definitely best video that I have found to shoot in is either 4K 3840 at 30 frames per second or 2.7K at 30 frames per second. So go ahead and set that up so you don't have to worry about that. Movie format, MP4 for Windows, MOV for Mac, NTSC or PAL, depending upon what country you live in. Currently, I have my style at standard and my color at D-Cinelike. This seems to basically work the best right now for just going out and capturing footage. You can change those settings later when you get more experienced and you want to do some color grading. White balance is always going to be depending upon the day. If you know what you're doing, you can set it to custom. If you don't, go ahead and choose one of the presets, sunny, cloudy versus auto. The little dial here is basically where you can turn on certain features like your histogram, turn on or off your front LEDs, turn on the grid lines here that you see, and format your SD card. This button right here is going to switch you between photo mode and video mode. This button here is where you are going to select your different flight modes that you're going to use. Now right now we are in beginner mode, so that will keep everything real close to us, and that's what you're going to want to do. I recommend to do this for a few battery packs to learn how to have trust and faith with your Mavic. Play with your video settings while it's holding in the air. It's not going to do anything. If you get out of control, let go of the sticks. Take it nice and easy. It's going to stay right where you put it. You're not going to have to worry about anything. Be really careful of these gimmicky modes like active track and follow me and everything else, because that's where a lot of beginners get in trouble. Is they hop on their four-wheeler, put it in follow me mode, and they end up are not sure how their Mavic is going to fly and what to do when they get in that situation, and it ends up following them right into a tree because they can't see everything. They can only see a little bit. In the middle here, you can see the green tap to focus. Now, right now, with the current version of the app, it's going to go ahead and focus for you whenever its algorithms depend on it. But if you always want to make sure that you're in focus and capturing the shot, just tap on the screen anywhere at your target, and it's going to lock everything in. So pretty much from here, you can go ahead and take off, fly. This is your recording button here. Press that button to start the recording, press it to stop it, or also on your remote control, you have the exact same thing. And the same goes for switching back and forth to photo modes. When you're done, bring the Mavic back in slowly. I like to point the camera all the way down, so that way I know for sure where I'm landing on my pad and not in the middle of the grass. Hold the left stick all the way down to kill the throttle. And once the propeller stops spinning, you're all ready to go. Don't forget to stop your recording if you had one running, so it'll be saved. And then go ahead and power everything off and swap out your battery and get ready for the next flight. So that's going to be it, guys. Any questions, let me know. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you guys later.